way the region is being affected by climate change is extremely obvious. We had a harvest, usually, well, only 10 years ago when I arrived in Champagne, people were telling me, oh, harvest it's different dates every year, but it's end of September. That was how I was told about the harvest only 10 years ago. This very same year, we did start the harvest on the 23rd of August. And this year we started on the 17th of August. And since 2003, this is the 7th harvest starting in August, while we only knew 1822 before, and there was no harvest in August. The average harvest date has been pushed ahead by 18 days in 30 years. So it's absolutely huge as a change. The region has experienced a growth of the average temperature of over 1 degree Celsius, leading to almost 1 extra degree of potential alcohol in the grapes in only 30 years. And a drop of acidity, a very small drop, but still we can see it. So Champagne is hotter. Champagne is on an average not drier, but we have experienced the driest month of July ever this year. We have experienced the highest temperature ever recorded last year, 42.9 Celsius. It starts to feel like Australia sometimes. And all in all, this means, of course, we can pick the grapes earlier, but this means also different risks. And actually the paradox is at the moment, we see more exceptional vintages than ever, because the big danger for Champagne has always been humidity. Humidity leading to fungus disease and leading to protection of the vines by products. All in all, heat and drought are good for the environment because we don't have to spray anything, because the fungus disease do not succeed in these weather conditions. And on top of that, the vine is a Mediterranean plant. The vine loves to be thirsty, just like us. And when the vine is thirsty, of course, the grapes are a bit smaller, but the aromas are more concentrated. There is no dilution of the aromas. So at the moment, we are producing more and more vintages that are extremely healthy from a grape perspective, that are really ripe, and it's great for quality. But that is short term, because the change is so fast that it's our duty to think ahead and to plan ahead. And of course, we have noticed that, we've been noticing that for a long time. Again, because half of Comité Champagne is made of engineers and technicians, we cannot ignore the reality of how nature evolves. So 20 years ago, we started to put in place sustainable management system for the region with basically 2 axes. The first one is reducing our own environmental impact, making our own share of trying to limit the rise of temperature, notably. And on the other hand, we have also put in place a lot of innovation programs to adapt to the future climate of Champagne, which we can already sense a little bit. When it comes to reducing the impact, we've been very organized on 3 plans, 3 domains. The first one is water, second is air, and the third is biodiversity. It's very easy to understand. The water is water we use to clean the wineries, to clean the pressing machines, etc. We need a lot of water. To produce 1 bottle of champagne, you need 9 liters of water overall. But we have invested to collect and recycle and give back to nature 100% of these waters, which is a tremendous achievement. You have to compare that with the fact that the French state is only collecting 83% of the wastewaters of the households to be recycled. So we're doing better than the state with the water in the Champagne region. And of course, it's the growers and houses themselves who have financed the, I don't know how you call that, the water cleaning plants, extra water cleaning plants that sometimes are even bigger than the one of the village. So it's also an investment that benefits to all the citizens where it's made. the example I have in mind is a village where the growers and houses have financed an expansion of the existing water cleaning plant in order to connect the wineries to the water plant of the village and have everything done in one place, but they did finance, of course, the connection and the extra volume needed to treat the waters from the wineries. But we are giving back 100% of the wastewaters to nature once they are absolutely clean. Then there's the air, and the air is, of course, CO2 footprint. And we have reduced the CO2 footprint of every bottle by 20% in 15 years. This was an absolutely crucial innovation that did benefit to the rest of the world because we did change the weight of the standard champagne bottle. You can see them on the top over there. And it's irrelevant to look at both because they look the same, but there's a difference in weight between the older bottle and what we call the lighter bottle, which has become the standard of the catalog of the glass makers. A difference that basically is the equivalent of, in terms of carbon footprint, of 8,000 cars. So we have destroyed 80,000 cars in 10 years, thanks to the lighter champagne bottle. And this is good for, it's our contribution to reducing CO2. We have also reduced CO2 by other means, a lot of other means, but it was important to work on the bottle and the packaging first, because packaging represents 1/3 of the carbon footprint of the champagne bottle, freight and transportation, another third, and vine growing, grape growing, and winemaking is only 15% of the carbon footprint of champagne. So you see through this example that we look at the holistic impact. We didn't look just at vines and enology or wineries. We looked at marketing, purchasing goods, freight, etc., etc. In order to really make a difference, you have to look at the whole, at all types of impacts of the product you're looking at. And the third leg of this program to reduce our environmental footprint is biodiversity, and it's the most consumer friendly, because this means we are reducing the pesticides, as simple as that, by 50% in 15 years. We managed to reduce the pesticides to that level, and half of the pesticides that we still use in Champagne are allowed in organic farming, in organic viticulture. They are bio. On top of that, we have decided, we also, of course, set new objectives every time. So carbon footprint is -75%. And when it comes to the pesticides, we have decided that Champagne will get rid of all chemical herbicides by 2025. So this is the program meant to reduce our environmental footprint. So air, water, biodiversity. And then the future.
So in regards to the glass, my question is technically, how did you lighten the glass? Did you re-engineer the punt of the glass? And is that new bottle, and is that new perhaps engineering available for all types of bottles? Is it the same, for example, prestige champagne bottles? Will they also be going for a lighter bottle?
Excellent question. We did not change the shape of the bottle. We did not change the way they are being produced. We just basically shaved a little bit of the shoulders. So the shoulders are less thick, and some areas of the bottle are less thick. And this was possible because the glass today is of a very high quality. So we can make bottles that can bear the pressure of a champagne bottle, that is 6 bars, 6 atmospheres, so it's very high pressure. It's the same one as the tire of a double-decker bus.
S'ensuit une période de maturation en cave, de 15 mois minimum pour un vin non millésimé et de 3 ans au moins pour un millésimé. À l'issue du temps de vieillissement choisi par l'élaborateur, les levures mortes forment un dépôt dans la bouteille. Le remuage va permettre de rassembler ces sédiments dans le goulot afin de les éliminer ensuite par le dégorgement.
This being said, of course, the weight of the bottle is a quality criteria for the consumers. It's like a pen. I always think of my old fountain pen, which I feel is luxury because it's heavy. And when it's light, it feels like plastic. It's a little bit like that with champagne. Some research has shown that consumers feel when it's heavier, it's more luxury. So it's the standard bottle that we did change, but we cannot do the same work for all the shapes of bottles. It's far too expensive and long. So the prestige bottles are indeed very often heavier.